हेलो एंड वेलकम टू आवर अनदर एपिसोड ऑफ संडे कनेक्ट। एंड एक बार फिर से हम आपके लिए एज यूजुअल एक नए मेहमान को लेके आए हैं। एंड एवरी टाइम वी ट्राई टू ब्रिंग समवन हु इज इंटरेस्टिंग एज वेल एज इंस्पायरिंग फॉर यू। और यही हमारी कोशिश रहती कि ऐसी महिलाओं से, ऐसी लोगों से, आपसे प्रोफेशनल से आपकी मुलाकात कराएं जिन्होंने कुछ अलग किया हो, जिससे आप कुछ सीख भी सके। सो दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट वी वांट टू डू, एंड दिस, as I always say, is our very special show, Sunday Connect. तो संडे कनेक्ट में इस बार हमारे साथ जुड़ रही हैं रिचा लखेड़ा। मेरी पुरानी दोस्त हैं। शी इज एन एक्स कॉलीग ऑफ माइन। शी यूज्ड टू वर्क विद एनडीटीवी। शी इज समवन, रिचा, जो कि मैं सबको कहती हूँ हमेशा, यू आर समवन हु हैज इज अ लिटिल बॉल ऑफ एनर्जी, दैट्स व्हाट यू आर, एंड टैलेंट and enthusiasm. And I have no clue where you get all of that from. Like I have seen so many examples of your talent and you never seem tired. So सबसे पहले तो मैं यही जानना चाहूंगी कि एक बार हमको बता दो, जैसे कि ये सवाल आजकल जर्नलिस्ट में ट्रेंड करता ही है, कि आपकी एनर्जी का सोर्स क्या है?
I think Anjali, first of all, thank you for having me on your excellent platform. And I do go through your post and Women in Adventure. I mean, such an excellent initiative. So thank you, guys. I mean, what can I say? Well done, guys, also for making that happen. Apart from that, जो energy ball की आप बात कर रहे हो, you are a pahadi yourself. It's a pahadi gene, yeah.
खून में ही है ये सारी एनर्जी। But talent is one thing. I do understand that you have it when you're born, but you nurture it as well. So when did you realize that it was just not journalism for you? You had other aspects for you.
Frankly, you know what, Anjali, I mean, talking about journalism to writing and stuff and so on and so forth, it's not that much of a deviation from the plan. I mean, disclaimer, there was no plan. But what I mean is that as journalists, we do deal with stories day in and day out, right? I would think it's a natural progression. See, when you are a journalist, or whether you are a writer or a screenwriter, or whether you write for OTT, or you write for films, or you write for television, basically the whole thing boils down to the fact that we are passionate about stories. And, I guess you do it for the love of the story. And for a writer, maybe a little more that story, which pushes your button to the extent that you actually sit down and write a book on it. So it's really, there's no big mystery. There's nothing to writing except that you have to sit down and write.
Right, absolutely. Sit down and write, you're saying. It's not that difficult, you're saying. But चैलेंज, देखो, मैंने भी आपसे बात की थी, चैलेंज तो होता ही है, इतना आसान नहीं होता है। एंड women, there are a lot of women who are working. आप एक काम कर रहे हैं और आपका पैशन है कुछ और, काम भी है जो आपने शुरू किया था, वो आप डिस्कवर करते हैं एक और पैशन है। देन हाउ डू यू डिफरेंशिएट एंड फाइंड आउट, हाँ, दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई कैन वर्क ऑन एंड एक्चुअली मेक इट इनटू अ सेकंड प्रोफेशन?
As I said, when we are journalists, in any case, for us, it overlaps in the sense that day in and day out, we are talking about stories, right? And as a writer, because I do crime, I do fiction writing, I do crime stories, and it's sort of one grows from the other. The only difference is that when you are a journalist, of course you're talking non-fiction, and here it's all fiction. And I guess for me, what's really worked is that before the cardinal rule number one for me, I think, which has worked is that before you write anything, you have to notice something. And I think journalists notice a lot. And so as a writer, as a journalist, we are trained to notice a lot. And there is second cardinal rule number two, I say, that you must never come very lightly to a page, which basically means that, one should approach this whole act of writing, so to speak, from something, one feels very deeply about. Like, for instance, my first book, which is called Garbage Beat, it was a satire on the news industry, and especially the entertainment beat. So it came from excitement about the theme. There was a challenge about talking about a newsroom and about a group of friends who have just joined a newsroom and what happens to them and how they grow up. It's a coming of age story. And then my second book, Item Girl, it was a crime story. And that also came from a place that came from another place. It was more, about to do with the sense of injustice related to exploitation of women in the film industry. the other book called Hungry Gods, again crime book. That was more to do with a sense of injustice, which is related to exploitation of people by corporates, and the whole idea of brand ambassadors and star brand ambassadors, and there was this whole crime which was built on that backdrop. So I guess my next book, which is coming out, which is called Contamination, that is a challenge, I guess. I mean, because that's a horror book, and it's for the first time I'm writing about a thriller horror book, and it's about a soldier who is. I would love to talk about it later on also, but यहाँ पे because थोड़ा सा जिक्र हो गया है. So it's about this soldier who is part of a resistance militia group, and she has suddenly she has these dark powers which start growing. So it's a bit of horror, and it's a combat horror, I call it. And the other book which is coming out, which is called A History of Violence, and that is also a challenge because for the first time I'm talking about I had to do a lot of research for it because it's a combat thriller. It is based on the politics of and northeast insurgency. It's a crime story on that backdrop. So I guess what I'm saying is that it all depends on what kind of buttons are being pushed at all times. Writing, because everyone is writing, or many people are writing, or many of your friends are writing, is the worst reason to become a writer, I think. Then it's a waste of time, and really it's not worth it. Because why would you want to literally pursue a a vocation which is so solitary? It is very thankless. It's a non-commercial gamble because writers don't get paid as much, and it's a gamble. So unless you land a film deal, but even with because my one of my books has a film deal, but even that, it is not like, what I'm saying is that the money is not as much. So I guess the answer is one wants to seek, and but seeking is not what can I say, born from humility. So I think that writers in that sense are not really very humble in that sense, so to speak.
मतलब ये पैशन होना चाहिए. ये it should not, you're saying, should not be just coming from a commercial aspect कि आप सोचिए कि अरे पैसा बनाने के लिए you
पैसा भी
have
बहुत
to have
जरूरी है अंजलि, नहीं पैसा बनाना भी बहुत जरूरी है because at the end of the day that is also a big, what can I say, for many people it's a passion. I mean, when you have something you are good at, and after that it starts paying it, that's another high, that's a different high. But what I'm saying is that just to get into something because other people are doing it and stuff, then really doesn't make sense because it's a very solitary profession. Money of course बहुत important है, and eventually, but writing field में there's not as much money. As I said, unless you do land a film deal or your book gets opted for some kind of a OTT or something, even then the money comes, it's not what you get in other sort of professions, so to speak. So yes, there has to be passion. There has to be a sense of, you need to be invested with that particular theme, as in so that it justifies the number of hours you give to, because each book takes around 6 months. And if it is a difficult book, if it is a very difficult book, it takes around 8 to 10 months. Sometimes it takes a year.
oh my
For some people, it takes 2 years. So what I'm saying is that it needs to justify those number of hours. And of course, money is important. And I think that is also why many people kind of pursue both the things. They have a profession which pays, and at the same time, they do sort of, do write on side by side. But after a particular point, that really doesn't cut it, because then you have sort of, as I said, you have more deadlines to sort of work with, and then it does, it comes to the point of कि अब choose करना है कि where do you want to really, and also of course the EMIs should have taken care of themselves.
The EMIs, the dreaded horror story, तो इस पे लिखी जा सकती है. खैर रिचा, ये बताइए कि you just said that it's a very solitary profession. So after doing a profession like journalism, which is not solitary at all, and I think as a entertainment journalist, जितना मतलब importance आप लोगों को मिलती है, सारे stars के PR आप आगे पीछे घूमते हैं, सब stars से आप लोग बात करते थे, तो how did you say कि नहीं अब ये भी किया जा सकता है?
As I said, Anjali, even when I was sort of all the time, as you know, I'm an entertainment journalist, so to speak. And, we used to, every evening, we go to parties and we used to sort of all the time be surrounded by. But my point is, I think it's also to do with your temperament. Basic temperament kya hai aapka? एक बात होती है कि सोशल लाइफ अलग चीज है, और एक है बेसिक टेम्परमेंट, कि व्हाट एक्चुअली गिव्स यू sense of sense of yourself. So I think my basic temperament from the beginning has, if you do remember, I also sort of have a, I mean, I'm very much into arts, and
Yeah.
I have a studio where I sort of, so that is also a very solitary profession. In fact, as an artist, that's even more solitary. For 14 to 15 hours sometimes I just am at one place and just doing one piece. And so I think it is much to do with your basic temperament. I always found this very contrary in myself, and I'm not surprised that people find it very strange, actually, because for a person who's always, in the entertainment field, and then you take up, because writing, still you get to meet quite a lot of people. And nowadays, of course, the writing community is also very strong. They are very vocal. They're very, we have a lot of stuff which is happening all the time. You have literary festivals. And so writing, I don't think is that much, in fact, I think I would like to say the field of arts is even more solitary. So I think it's more to do with the basic temperament kya hai.
बेसिक टेम्परमेंट क्या है, दैट्स ट्रू. एंड लास्टली रिचा, जाते जाते मैं आपसे हमारी जो जितने मेंबर्स हैं, दे आर ऑल लेडीज हु वांट टू डू समथिंग डिफरेंट, हु आर ऑलवेज सीकिंग आउट पैशन प्रोजेक्ट्स. एंड तो आप उनको टिप्स क्या देंगी कि आज आप अगर ऐसी सिचुएशन में आ गई हैं कि आप कुछ अलग भी करना चाहती हैं, सो लाइक अ लिस्टिकल सॉर्ट ऑफ अ थिंग, कि आप ये चीजें जरूर देख लें, एंड देन यू कैन गो अहेड एंड दिस विल हेल्प यू आउट.
Can I say absolutely nothing and everything?
Uh,
Can I just say that? Because, I want to say one thing here, that there is this term which I have as women, which I hear a lot, and that I hear for writers also: women writers, women authors, women artists. You don't use that term for men. What I want to say here, and I feel very strongly about this, Anjali, is the fact that women, we should cherish ourselves, but we should also construct ourselves away from our gender. We should, and in fact, that's, I guess, my only advice, even to anyone, even my daughter. You need to construct yourself away from being a female, away from your gender. You don't say to a male that आप male writer है, अब आप क्या, आप क्या करना चाहते हैं as a male. So I think, yeah, specifically with women, whether they are writers or whether they are journalists or whatever field they are in, there's this great concern to please the world. I say, don't please the world, please yourself. Women are flattered that they are accepted into, the world of arts, which is a very masculine world. It seems like that. They are still, she's still so happy that they are being given this permission to explore and express and just be herself. Men are not like that. They just take it. So my point is, a woman, generally what I see around is also that most of the time, she doesn't want to disturb the status quo, doesn't want to antagonize, constantly watching the words, watching the manners, constantly watching, how far they have come, feeling happy with that, their ultimate narratives. They want to stay within the societal constraints. And it's not really blazing that much new trails, you see. So it's always about suitable topics, suitable writing, suitable jobs, suitable adjectives, stories, ki women should behave the way women should. No, I don't think you should. I think you should behave the way you want to behave, the way you want to do it. And I personally, I don't like any kind of conformism. I'm very uncomfortable with any narrative which persuades that women have to behave in a particular way, or if they should behave like a woman. Like even my characters, they don't stay within their allotted space of social or sexual orders. So yeah, that's my, I guess. In fact, can I just say one more thing? I've been told many times that, my character, the women don't write such gloomy or graphic tales, because my books are quite, some of the characters are quite despicable, quite scary actually. And what does your family say? You don't ask a male that, so why would you want to ask a female that?
Yeah, I remember when I read one of your books, and then the death of a star in that was quite scary. I remember. So you don't mince your words while writing also. As I remember, you don't mince your words while interviewing also.
Yes.
And somebody's actually commenting, Vishal Dave, one of our viewers, he's also commenting about it. That, but I must tell my viewers that, जितना आप स्क्रीन पे देखते हैं ना, उसका मेरे ख्याल से 80% ज्यादा off screen Richa hai, where she doesn't mince her words at all. We used to call her a little pataka, she was, office में. Fun time, all of us. We had a good time. You enjoyed a great profession. You did great, and I'm glad that now you have managed to build another empire for yourself. So best of luck, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Anjali. Thank you. And this wonderful platform which you have created, and it's an excellent initiative. Thank you so much for having me here.
Bye, Richa. Bye.
Bye. Bye.